We have a great panel coming up. Richard Wang from Draper Dragon Fund, Ulf, Maggie Wu, Tan Lion, not Maggie Wu, Tan, and a couple other folks here that are going to add some really, really interesting commentary to global investments in different parts of Europe. I know that Tan is doing a little bit of more stuff in the global environment, especially in the Muslim world. I know Ulf has got some experience in the African ecosystem. Obviously, Richard's got a huge experience in being with the Draper Fund for over, what, 20 years now? Is that correct?
Yes, we have a venture fund in China, 15 years already. But you
yes,
know,
so you're connecting with the Silicon Valley, connected with China. You've been involved with artificial intelligence. You've deployed a bunch of cash everywhere in lots of different industries. Amazing panel, Richard. Thank you so much for joining us today. Looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what you find and the Dragon Fund finds interesting. And then Tan, some of your background and Wayne and Ulf in terms of what you're seeing globally. I do apologize that we are running a little bit behind time, and we'll try and catch it up. But I'll pop back in and let you guys take it over from here.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. Well, yes, thank you, Karen, also invite us to join this panel. So we like to discuss the digital assets in East Asia. So I'm very happy to invite three people to join the panel with me. They have a different, very versatile background and come from different cities, I would say. So we have Wang from XREX, we have Dr. Ulf, and also we have Lionel from Malaysia. So all those three guys come from different geography, and maybe you guys want to introduce yourself and your work a little bit. You know, you can just say as much as you want. Okay, maybe we start from Wayne.
Hi everybody, thank you for having me. My name is Wayne. I come from a cybersecurity background. I have a PhD in cybersecurity. Started a cybersecurity startup, ran it for 7 years, sold it to a NASDAQ listed company in Silicon Valley. When we all worked there for another 5 years. So we've had about 20 years of cybersecurity experience. This time we are doing exchange SaaS. So we're in the business of helping people start their own exchanges. We're leveraging our cybersecurity experience skills, but we're not directly offering cybersecurity this time. We are operating in India, Africa, and South America.
Okay, Wayne?
Yeah, that's it. That's it from me.
Okay, good. So Wayne come from a lot of the background about exchange and also trading, I believe. So. Okay, and how about next one, Dr. Wu?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure today. I'm originally from Germany. I traveled quite a bit around the world. I have a PhD in management originally, but I focused on global supply chains, lived 8 years in mainland China and recently moved to Hong Kong. I a bit of a hybrid. I'm both an academic, I'm a professor by training, but also I work on global investments, and I got involved with the blockchain space about 2 years ago and got quite fascinated since originally my PhD, I was very focused with the topics of transparency and traceability, which at the time was a nightmare. And of course, blockchain presented quite an interesting solution. More recently, being based in Hong Kong, you can imagine there's a lot of things happening in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is trying to rebrand itself. So I'm quite interested in the topic of digital assets and the potential it has for a place like Hong Kong to also reposition itself, I would say, in Asia.
Yeah, I believe Hong Kong is also quite aggressive compared to Singapore. Recently, we have one portfolio called HKBITES. Just they doing the exchange and trying to get a license from Hong Kong government. So they just got a new round of funding. So the next one, Launa, So maybe want to introduce yourself and your work.
Sure. Thanks, Richard. Thanks for having me, guys. All right. So what we do, my profession from when I started my studies was I'm an accountant by nature. So I started to work my way out through audit, through liquidation, and went into banking, insurance. Later on, went into the investment world, stocks, futures, options. Then, of course, blockchain, cryptocurrency is the big thing 5 years ago. All along, we have been in the asset management line. So we actually handle international assets, funds from people. And right now, we're actually targeting and looking forward for STO, especially like the security part of things, digital assets. Singapore have already, the Bank of DBS have already wanting to issue their own security token, security digital assets for their country. China, we heard, is coming up as well. Malaysia, that's where I'm based, we're actually quite pro crypto. I think this is definitely a booming market. However, in terms of asset management, the loophole right now is still as what the whole conference is about DeFi, about centralized. Should we still need a government to handle? We actually on both ends. So we are actually in the centralized, but we want to try to make the marketplace as transparent as possible, right? So we are now focusing very solely on only one market at the moment, which is called the Muslim market. So I will elaborate more later on why we are entering into this market, because it's so niche, and until today, we have yet to see a champion into this Muslim market, and no one is taking care of them at the moment. So it's a big opportunity for our end. Yeah, so that's for my introduction. Thanks, Richard.
Okay, good. Yes. So we're trying to discuss the things in the East Asia. So the question go to three of you. What is the potential of the Pan-Asia region and maybe specifically Hong Kong, Singapore, even Malaysia to become the global leaders in digital assets trading? So what do you think? Maybe Wang?
On my side, I think we've seen, as Tian said, we've seen quite a few crypto-friendly governments, including Taiwan. Our biggest investor is the Taiwanese government as a direct investment. So as a crypto exchange platform, I believe we're one of the few in the world where that is directly invested by a government. We also see very, very good licenses, licensing crypto related license frameworks being offered by Hong Kong and Singapore. And at the same time, there is very active DeFi momentum in Asia. So I do think Asia is becoming a hub for CeFi DeFi integration. On one side, we have crypto-friendly governments that have taken steps to provide regulatory frameworks so that CeFi organizations can really work with traditional capital markets and be regulated and be compliant. At the same time, we have a lot of DeFi movement, right? So I think this is really good opportunity for us out here in this part of Asia.
Okay, and I guess we need to wait for Dr. Wu to come back. So how about Lionel? What do you think the potential of the Pan-Asia? Which area maybe can become the global leader in the digital asset trading?
Sure. This is actually a very interesting topic, because I started understanding about blockchain crypto since the ISO days, since when Bitcoin was 500 shot to more than 2,000 and so on and so forth. It's interesting for Asia, like what Richard and Wayne actually, I would like to add up on that. Asia, I believe, is crazy about crypto, right? We are definitely having hubs all over. Hainan in China is already considered like the hub, crypto hub, blockchain hub in China. Malaysia, in fact, for our company, A1 Capital, as you can see, A1 Capital Group, in fact, we gotten a license from Malaysia to run an exchange, to run fiat crypto multi, vice versa, to run multiple related to blockchain related issuing coins. We actually gotten the license already. So I believe in terms of trading, in Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Korea, China, Thailand, Southeast Asia region, we are gonna pioneer this in the trading world because especially for us, we love to make money, right? And people will say like, oh, okay, trading can make money, but 90% of them loses. But they would like to try. They like to try. They like to like, let's test what crypto is all about, right? So I believe the market share for Asia is not to be overlooked. There's a big potential here. People want to learn about it, but we still lack of the easy accessibility for them. Most of my clients, my students, they want to ask, how do I buy Bitcoin? Even to today, they don't know the channel to buy Bitcoin. Yeah, so it's definitely growing. There's no doubt about it. It's just companies have to come up with more innovative ideas how to ease the consumers to get into the market, get into the crypto market. Yeah, that's my take on the Asia Pacific on the trading side.
Hey, Dr. Wolf, do you have a comment on this?
We lost him.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess so.
He is coming back. He's coming back.
So when come back you. So in Asia, where do you see the best application of digital assets? When?
Yeah. So our users are, a lot of our users are cross-border merchants that are doing business in emerging markets. So as mentioned, most of our users are in India, Africa, parts of the Middle East, and South America. In these markets right now, it's really hard to access the dollar, right? There's a big dollar crunch. In many, with many central banks in Africa right now, there's just no dollars. And that makes commodity trading extremely difficult. So we are very passionate about using digital assets to help solve this problem and to help accelerate international commodity trading. And we do that by, right now, a lot of these merchants have to, because in the lack of dollars in the central banks, they have to buy gold, right? And then they have to contract an escort company, ship the gold out, and then sell the gold for $1. But because of interest in Bitcoin, and because now in all of these countries, there's a lot of Bitcoin traders and Bitcoin investors, these merchants who are our users, when they're short of dollars, they don't actually need to buy gold and escort gold out of the country. They can just find people to buy Bitcoin from, sell the Bitcoin on our platform, and there they have dollars. And this will solve, to a big extent, the dollar liquidity issue right now in Africa and in South America. And we really like it because it plays to the inclusive financing mission of Bitcoin. And it solves a traditional problem, and it onboards so many of these merchants that previously had no understanding of Bitcoin. And this is where I see the opportunity lies. We're very passionate about onboarding, as Han said, onboarding new users to Bitcoin. Because right now DeFi is really hot, but it's really hard to understand. And it is for crypto experts like us, right? So, and you have 99% of the population that hasn't actually accessed Bitcoin yet. But the Bitcoin solves so many of their business issues. And once they experience it, they always say, "Oh my God, this thing really works." And so that's the opportunity that we see today.
Okay, I guess you see that quite a lot of opportunity from your business, right? So it's more like a merchant cross-border, something like that. Okay, I believe that's a very good application on that. So Dr. Wolf, welcome back. So I have questions for you. So how do you see the competition? Because I do know you do a lot of research, right? Investigation about governance, maybe about the regulation. So how do you see the competition between independent cryptocurrency, stable coins, and national digital currency to play out in the future?
I think it's a very valid question. It's obviously there's a big ideological fight going on globally, I would argue. And big places like China, but also in Europe and other places, they're thinking how they can control and govern the space, create more transparency. There's some other governance issues they want to address, like avoid any type of money laundering, etc. However, I would like to get back to a point that my previous speaker, Wang, made. I think when you look at some of these developing countries, and I lived a long time in Africa, it is quite, it's really a very, very attractive solution. And what I can see is, I think there will be two parallel developments. Of course, governments in China in particular, they will try to control their own cryptocurrency, which they're have launched, of course, and they will try to build their own space. But there will be a very huge need for decentralized solutions for niche players, solutions for specific industries that may also be somehow caught up in some of the geopolitical tensions between the US, China, and increasingly Europe as well in the middle. So being able to move assets or to do transactions, I think becomes increasingly valid. And from that perspective, I think it will be a bit of both, that governments will, of course, try to control as much as they can, but at the end of the day, it will be the users that will decide. And I think from that perspective, I think in the long run, we will end up with a bit of a parallel system.
Okay, and by the way, do you see the RCEP is going to affect any about this? The recent RCEP?
Yes, I do think so. My interpretation of all of this is China is obviously trying to build its own hinterland, given the opportunity that the COVID crisis presented to it and the US elections, the US retreating. Now, in this environment, doing transaction through a cryptocurrency system, whatever it is, a stable coin or any kind of controlled exchange mechanism that has approval, in particular from China, will of course be very attractive to deploy capital to do transaction across the space. The gentleman before me, Wayne here, mentioned the attractiveness to African countries, and as we know, China is investing heavily into Africa. I think that's also a space to watch in the future for, in particular, smaller and medium-sized transactions, where this could become a very attractive way to transact, and a transaction of choice for those who are active.
Okay. So Lionel, about well, I have some understanding that you guys are focusing on the halal governance and also the Muslim market industry. So would you like to elaborate how this idea came out?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Richard, for the question. Yeah, how it came out is very simple. However, it's so profound because as we know, the whole world population, there's like 7.8 billion people, right? So about 1.9 of them are actually Muslims. So Muslims, it's comprising about 24% of the world population. However, as an asset management company, we invest in a lot of other different projects. One of it is actually e-commerce. Okay, e-commerce is no stranger to us. Like eBay, Amazon is conquering the Western world. Tencent, Alibaba basically conquered China and the Southeast Asia region. However, there's one particular market, which is the Muslim market, they have not been taken care of in the e-commerce because they have a specific compliance ethically and their guidelines that need to be addressed for Muslims to purchase a certain product, right? Because there are certain guidelines based on their religion. So we get into this market, the Muslim market, solely because no one is taking care of them, not only in the e-commerce side, probably in the SME, which let's say they want to raise funds, they have to have some proper ethical ways to raise their funds. They can't be like normal people, go to the bank. So blockchain will definitely ease and solve this problem. Moving on furthermore, their expenditure for Muslims will be estimated to grow to about 4.8 trillion by 2023. So this is like huge market, but it's untapped. Until today, it's untapped. So what we want to focus in is we want to build a community around blockchain, using blockchain and crypto for the halal community. And we are expanding, as you can see from my backdrop, we're expanding to all these 45 countries that is catering for all these Muslim people. Southeast Asia, South Africa, Nigeria, Europe, East Asia, America, Central Asia, Kazakhstan, all these countries. And when they have a medium like what Wayne mentioned about the cross-border payment not going through the US dollar so much because they don't have liquidity and so on, blockchain and crypto is definitely a solution for all these people and all these community in the Muslim country. So we foresee we are definitely going to go big. This is definitely going to be a unicorn company. We're going to just drive the market using crypto, blockchain, the trend, and share it to the Muslim community. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sound like your business idea is able to work with Wang's business. So Wang,
Yeah.
what's need to happen? What's need to be happen in order to accelerate the digital assets usage in Asia? What do you think, Wang?
Yeah, I would really just like to see a lot more people who previously hasn't accessed crypto, hasn't used crypto or digital assets, to start to really use some type of blockchain-based solutions to solve their day-to-day business problems. Because I understand right now the industry has a lot of movement, but I would love to see more new users come in. And I think next year, following Ulf's, what he talked about, I think next year, the stronger currencies enabled by either stablecoins or state-backed digital currencies are going to very quickly get into the weaker jurisdictions, right? If you usually for these countries, because the local fiat is so volatile that they would restrict their people, their business people from using the dollar, because if everybody, because of local fiat instability and volatility, if all of these big business people start to hold on to dollars, euros, or RMB, that's going to further the country's issue, further the local current fiat's issue, right? And previously, all these governments, what they do is they just strictly restrict access to these stronger global currencies. But now with the blockchain, with either stable coins or state-backed digital currencies, it's really hard to do that restriction, because these are very similar to digital paper cash, and they can totally bypass the entire local banking system. You download any ERC20 app, wallet, and you can hold the US dollar, you can hold RMB, you can do business with China, with US, with the rest part of the world, right? It is financial inclusion in a way happening at an accelerated speed, but it is going to cause a lot of issues for these weaker countries, and it is going to enable the much stronger currencies to evade into the weaker jurisdictions. It is going to spike the application of such digital assets. and at the same time cause a lot of frustration for the weaker governments, for the weaker states.
Hey, Dr. Wu.
I don't want to stop this because it's really, really interesting, but I do have to step in at this point. I mean, it's just amazing what Dr. Ulaf and Wayne and Tan and Richard, what you're seeing is how the developing or emerging countries may actually be the hairbringer for mass adoption, given their populations, weaker economies, and instability and inflation within their fiat currencies. I mean, this may just be like the whole renaissance of where mobility in the cell phone and connectivity was not contained by the local infrastructure. It just leapfrogged the developed countries and into a digital environment. And so, I mean, very quickly, 60 seconds or less, Richard, I'd like for you to give us what your thoughts are moving into 2021, and then Dr. Ulf, Wayne, and Tan, but let's just do 60 seconds or less for 2021 predictions. Go ahead.
Okay, Sheila. Oh, Richard.
Richard, you want to go?
No. Wow, Dr. Ulf, go ahead.
Okay, I think there's two spaces to watch in 2021. Number one, which we haven't talked about yet, I think that carbon exchange and the climate change debate will come back to us. And I do believe that I have a background in energy trading, that this will become quite an interesting space. I don't know when we reach the threshold that this becomes a relevant topic, but this year I got quite a lot of requests from traders around the world asking when China will switch and try to control through its own national digital currency, will try to control, take over more control from the dollar-based system. So anything related to that, major trading streams may be also, maybe eventually using digital currencies. One space I believe is very, very attractive, and that's also in the bigger picture from, you mentioned the regional zone. So deploying it along Belt and Road, you can call it the way you want, will be one of the major objectives on the China side. So Hong Kong is probably going to be one of the key players in that space.
Thank you. Wayne, 60 seconds or less, 2021 predictions.
2021, two. One is tethered digital assets, fiat tethered digital assets, right? Be it USDT, USDC, PAX, BUSD, or digital RMB. That's one. Second one is CeFi crypto banking. Why CeFi? Because in 2021, I really I see a massive growth in this vector, because now it's a lot easier for banks and for startups and for fintech companies to offer CeFi crypto-based banking. By banking, I mean like loans, because there is an alternative. Everybody can easily access DeFi, right? So if you don't offer some type of regulatory framework and somehow allow banks to do it, allow fintech companies to do it, then all users is going to go to DeFi. There is that option. That solid option exists already, and that's going to drive for DeFi's growth. For CeFi's growth, because governments are gonna have to allow this.
10.
Right. 2021, simple. Number one, ever since 2009, everyone knows Bitcoins is like a Pandora box. The moment it's open, now you can't even close it. Government can't control it, right? So what I'm looking at for 2021, the usage of blockchain technology as a technology, not on cryptocurrency, to build a system and to build a business around it. Just like how internet started, and then later on people built tech businesses around the internet technology like Facebook, WeChat, Alibaba, and so on and so forth. Secondly, will be the STO market. The security token market has not even started yet, but we can already see licensing coming out, governments issuing license to allow multi-fiat crypto, fiat crypto exchange. Security-backed token basically means your token is not a concept, it's really backed by asset class, a company share, a gold, or any fiat currency. So STO is definitely a big one for me as well. So blockchain, to build a business around it. Secondly is STO, security token offering. That's from my take for 2021.
Wow, thank you, Richard.
Well, yes, I don't have further comment on this. I'm quite proud of all the panelists to give so valuable opinion, vision on this. So thank you all for you. Thank you, Karen.
Richard, Wayne, Tan, Dr. Ulif, thank you so much. I wish we didn't have to cut this as we do. It's incredible. What I think what we should do next time is turn it around and have you all wake up really early in the morning and present to the US market, because this is really, really interesting. We're going to flip this around the next time. Thank you. It's in March, March 8th and 9th, which we will have a global investor conference, and it's about Acorns to Unicorns 2.0. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you so much.